Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Let me know first if you guys can hear me because I am outside, and because I'm outside, I have this fuzzy windscreen on my mic. So I wanted to make sure that you guys can hear me. Good to see you guys. Hey, Kate. Hey, J13. Hey, Jen. Tracy. Hey, Sprinkled Donut. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Petunia. Hey, Seven Lilies. J Rose. Harley Quinn. Can hear you. Okay, awesome. All right, so I want to talk about two things, but I want to start. Thank you, Carrie. I want to start with Barry Morphew. So this is the case that I have been following and covering since the start of my channel. You know, Barry Morphew, this isn't the first time he's been arrested for the murder of his wife, Suzanne. Let me see here. I'm going to pull up this. This is Suzanne Morphew. The first time he was arrested, though, he was let go, and she hadn't been found yet. There was also a big lawsuit. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of history. But he was arrested again, and that's where we're going to kind of pick up. I've got a couple videos, a couple articles, some things that I want to look at with you because it's a very good possibility, Jen. I saw you said he better not, that he is released. Not forever, and he will still have to have a trial, but we're going to get into it. But basically what it boils down to is at first his bond was a cash only bond, and things have changed. He was recently in court. Suzanne's brother had a statement read. I want to go through all of that. So let me just read through some of this for you guys that I have here printed off. So Barry Morphew may be released from jail while he awaits trial for the murder of his wife, Suzanne, but it won't come cheap. On Tuesday, the judge in the case modified his $3 million cash-only bond to allow him to post through a bail bondsman, which would cost him $300,000 or 10%. That's a lot, but honestly, it's not a lot when I think about how much his attorneys must cost and the home that they lived in and things like that. Ann Kelly, the 12th Judicial District Attorney, argued against any modification of the $3 million bond, saying that Suzanne's family was opposed, that Barry was using an alias at the time of his arrest in Arizona earlier this year and has no community connections to Colorado anymore. He also has substantial funds at his disposal, she argued, making him a flight risk. But Kelly conceded that Morphew did have the strong support of both of his daughters in modifying his bond, and District Judge Amanda Hopkins said that weighed heavily in his favor. So they would be the surviving victims, right? And they are on his side. No disrespect to any of the other individuals who are statutory victims in this case, but the two, what I would consider most significant victims of this matter, are strongly supportive of Mr. Morphew's innocence and are strongly supportive of his release. And I do not take that very seriously. And I do, excuse me, I do take that very seriously. Your opinion matters a great deal to me. Hopkins noted that Morphew has no real criminal history and that even posting 10% of his $3 million bond through a surety would be a powerful incentive to show up for his future court dates. If Mr. Morphew posts bond through a surety and then absconds, he not only has $300,000 on the line, but there's also a bail bondsman who would be tracking him down. And if he chose to post a cash-only option, then he would have $3 million on the line. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. Let me show you guys. There's more to this. Hey, Past. Hey, you guys coming in. But I want to... Uh-oh. What did I do there? I was already sharing the screen. I forgot. Let's start here. So Law and Crime did a good... they've done a good... This entire video is really good. I'm not going to play much of it, but I want to play from here. They're going to show him in Arizona when he was recently arrested. They're going to read the statement from Suzanne's brother and show him in his hearing this week. Then we're going to come over to Denver 7, watch a little bit of this, some of the new information. I want to go back for a moment in time with you guys to when he was on Good Morning America when he was released. And then last but certainly not least, something that is very important to me I want to talk about tonight is a horrific attack that happened in Charlotte, North Carolina on call it a light rail train. No clue what that even means, to be honest. I guess I don't know how, like, I'm from the country. I don't know how that's different to any other train. Maybe you guys can let me know. But it's a horrific attack that was caught on camera to a young lady who had just left work. You know, it's really sad, and it's important to me to talk about, especially being in my state. So we're going to start here. We got a lot to go through. Let me go ahead and press play.
Morphew for the...
Like I said, this is when he was picked up in Arizona recently, for this second case.
alleged
And if you don't know the case, don't worry. You'll get caught up throughout some of this.
murder of his wife, Suzanne. He was arrested in Arizona and was sent to Colorado. And this is new video of Barry being booked in Arizona after his arrest. When Barry returned to a Colorado courtroom back in July, he looked at the gallery and gave a big smile. According to KMGH, that smile was to one of his daughters. Both were in court on Tuesday this week, and they seem to still be standing by their dad. Now, they could be a big part of this case going forward. When Barry's charges were dropped in 2022, they went on Good Morning America with him.
I just love my girl.
Right here. Now, they actually went on twice. They went here, and then I think it's when he filed his lawsuit. I have both of them like readily available if we wanted to go that and watch them, but I might go back and do like a deep dive for those of you who aren't familiar with this case and what's happened over the years. Let me say thank you to Girls Nana for being a member for 22 months. I really appreciate you covering this case. Thank you, Girls Nana. I appreciate you being here. And Pass, thank you for being a member for 12 months. Hashtag real one, hashtag family, hashtag respect. Thank you, Pass. Okay.
Girls. And I love my wife.
Bond was set at $3 million cash back in July. Barry's lawyers filed a motion to get it reduced to $500,000, which brings us to what happened in court this week. No witnesses were called in.
Look at him. So this is him now, which is interesting, like for me, like to see him after all this time. There are certain times where he's looked incredibly stressed and much older and much more tired. And at other times he looks better. So
this bond hearing, but Suzanne Morphew's brother filed this victim impact statement, which read in part, quote, "I have laid awake many nights pondering the last few minutes of my sister Suzanne's life," and goes on to say,
that is so absolutely sad. You know, when she first went missing, her dad was alive. He's no longer alive. He was very sick. And her brother was one of her biggest advocates. And I'll never forget, her brother organized this search of not their property, but the surrounding their property. And Barry would not participate. And he also kind of ran into them during their search, and they had this kind of moment her brother has talked about in some of his interviews and stuff. But like I said, he is one of her biggest advocates. And yeah, it's just really sad, like knowing, you know, her dad is no longer with us. He wasn't alive when she was found. He passed away, unfortunately, without any answers.
Quote, "As she contemplated marriage to this monster, her thoughts migrated to a question she repeated innumerable times in her life. What was I thinking?" And her legacy will hopefully help others, men and women, avoid the fate she has suffered with her marriage to a heartless narcissist. Now, in court, the defense argued that Barry is an innocent man, and that will be proven in court. They also point to previous bond conditions that Barry was given in his previous court case, and they say he followed all the rules when he was out on bond previously.
I admit that the evidence has changed to the slightest degree. Of course, thankfully, with the discovery of Miss Morphew's body, but importantly, the substance.
Yes, the evidence has changed quite a lot if you think about it. Before, they had charged a man for the murder of his wife, and they hadn't found her body. And this left possibilities open, right, for things to be twisted and turned. And there was, there was no sign that she ran off. There's absolutely no evidence. There was never any evidence. But of course, that was kind of one of the theories that was at one time mentioned. Now she's been found. And not only has she been found, in the first case, they had a theory that Barry had chased Suzanne down and shot her with a tranquilizer dart that they had found in the dryer when they did the search of the home. Barry admittedly used these darts to take the horns off of deer, which is just disgusting. And so cruel. He was the only person. Let's go right when I clicked on. He was the only, okay. Ultimately, the prescription records show that when Suzanne Morphew disappeared, only one private citizen living in that area of the state had access to BAM, which is the chemical found in those darts, and that was Barry Morphew. So let's go over here to this. I think this will give some more information. They did have a press conference and stuff.
We began.
I think they do a good job
with a major development of the death of Suzanne Morphew. Her husband, Barry Morphew, charged with her murder again. A grand jury indicting him on a charge of first-degree murder. He was taken into custody in Arizona today and is waiting extradition to Colorado. Morphew is accused of killing his wife, Suzanne, on Mother's Day 2020. Now, he was first charged with her murder in 2021. Those charges, though, were dropped just days before the trial because of prosecutorial misconduct, which in fact led to the disbarment of the district attorney, Linda Stanley. Now, at that...
Oh, Linda Stanley. I will never forget. She was on YouTube doing interviews, all kinds of stuff before, the case had ever went anywhere. We're waiting for a trial. How do the daughters justify that? I don't know, KK. I don't know. I think maybe we have to wait until he goes to trial and they get to see the evidence. Oh, Carrie, thank you for joining. Thank you. Hey, Brandy. Welcome, Carrie.
At the time, Suzanne's body...
We got some cute emojis in the chat or whatever.
Still had not been found. Her remains were found September 2023. Investigators came across them in Moffett, or very near there, during an unrelated search. And
looking for someone else. They just happened to find her.
An autopsy found a rare mixture of powerful sedatives in her bones, typically used as an animal tranquilizer. I'm glad you're with us to wrap up this busy week. I'm Shannon Ogden. Endeavor 7 is digging through this new indictment, learning more.
Okay, so now they're going to give us some of the new information, and I want us to listen here, and then we'll quit, probably right around here when they go to talking about double jeopardy. It's just not a factor. It never made it that far. It wasn't thrown out with prejudice.
About why prosecutors decided now was the time to move forward with this case once again. Denver 7's Claire Lavazorio in Alamosa tonight with new details.
We're down here in Alamosa, where the district attorney...
Kelly, I can't remember her name. It was another woman. We've talked more about that, but...
Attorney formally announced the first-degree murder charge just a few hours ago, saying the team has done everything they can to take this case to court. It's been more than 5 years since Suzanne Morphew first went missing, and I spoke with one of her close friends who says she hopes this new development will lead to a conviction.
Please.
A husband once pleading for his missing wife's return.
Love you, we miss you, your girls need you.
Is charged with
Oh my God, I'll never forget that video he did.
murder for a second time.
Colorado as a whole has never stopped fighting for justice for Suzanne.
Barry Morphew was arrested on Friday in Arizona. He's now waiting to be extradited to Colorado. This comes nearly 2 years after Denver 7 was the only station alongside investigators as they discovered the missing mother's remains just outside of the town of Moffett. And a CBI official confirming with me here on scene. We spoke with her close friend, Tisha Leeway. She hopes this time justice sticks.
Now, I believe that they're not going to let this go. I wouldn't even have cared if it was 5 more years, as long as they get the evidence and get the conviction this time.
New details from the grand jury indictment say Barry was the last known person to see her alive. The documents also reveal Barry told investigators following Suzanne's disappearance that their marriage was the best. Though the indictment alleges Suzanne confided in people that she was unhappy in the marriage in the weeks and months leading to her disappearance and had been having a secret affair with an old acquaintance. During Suzanne's autopsy, an animal tranquilizer known as BAM was found in her bones. The indictment says the chemical mixture requires a prescription and is tightly
This is Suzanne's brother here right behind her.
regulated, making it difficult to obtain. It also claims that Barry was a deer farmer and the only private citizen living in that area of the state that had access to BAM at the time of his wife's disappearance. Friends like Leeway hope that piece of evidence will be the final nail in the coffin for this case.
I mean, they had a lot of evidence against him before, right? Because there was a lot of stuff that didn't make sense. He had all of a sudden had to go, to another town for a job. Now, this was like a Sunday, and in that town that he was saying that he went to for a job, you had to have a permit to work on the weekends. The people that he worked with had done interviews, even with YouTubers. There's so much to this. And they had said, his room smelled heavily of bleach, that he didn't have the tools. He had him out there to do this job, but didn't have any of the tools or the equipment. Like, he wasn't ready to do the job. They found him on camera going to like 7 different dumpsters, dumping all kinds of stuff. They have the forensics from his truck. There was a YouTuber who ran into him out searching and recorded him without his knowledge. There is just so much to this. We could literally do deep dives for a week straight to get through all of the information. The indictment, the first time, the arrest affidavit, was like 120 pages. That's big for an arrest affidavit. I know it's on my channel. I read through at least some of it in the past, but it's a lot. So now we'll wait and see. Will he be able to make this bond? It's certainly possible. That doesn't seem to be a lot of money for him. It's a hell of a lot of money to me, but I don't think for him. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a clip of this, and then we're going to get into the second thing I want to talk about, which it's insane. It's tough to watch. I don't know what the hell. I don't know. We'll get into it, but let's look at this first.
They are speaking out with their father, Barry, for the first time since murder charges against him were dropped last month. Amy is here with the exclusive interview. Good morning, Amy.
Hey, good morning, Michael. For more than a year, a Colorado man was accused by state prosecutors of killing his wife, who disappeared on Mother's Day back in 2020. But just days before he was scheduled to go on trial, Barry Morphew had the charges against him dismissed, and now he and his daughters are speaking out. And in the coming weeks, their attorney says they will request an investigation into how they say the district attorney mishandled this case.
We've been silent for a long time, and we've decided that we finally want to break the silence.
I feel so bad for them. I just want to say, I want to keep it respectful towards these girls. This is their dad. They trust him. They believe him. We know that they knew there were some problems happening, but I don't know. I think it's really easy to be manipulated by a narcissist, especially if it's your loved one, and especially if it is your only living parent, so I have nothing bad to say about the girls. I can't blame them. I don't know what's going on in their minds and their heads, what they've seen, and maybe they will change their mind after the trial.
This morning, just days before the second anniversary of her disappearance, the family of Suzanne Morphew is speaking out for the first time since the murder charges against her husband were dropped.
It's been an emotional roller coaster.
I remember
we
something
feel like we can
about
finally take our first steps in healing, which is a blessing.
I don't remember them necessarily lying to police, but I do remember there being some inconsistencies between the two of them when it came to those issues and stuff, and what Suzanne maybe had said to a friend versus there was kind of different versions of what we were hearing depending on who it was from, and I think inconsistencies between the two of them.
Yeah,
maybe they didn't
We just know our dad better than anyone else.
Yeah, they're beautiful
And
girls.
we
I
know he
know,
was not
Carrie.
involved
Can
in
you
our mom's
imagine?
disappearance.
Mallory and Macy Morphew,
Right,
standing by
Rando.
their father, who investigators believed was responsible for their mother's disappearance 2 years ago. The three seen walking out of court arm in arm just moments after the
Look at them reaching up to the sky and just thanking God. Can you imagine, though? They're young. They have no one. And they probably really believed, even more so when he's released, that he was innocent.
The charges against him were dropped.
We want to heal. We feel like we haven't been able to heal these past 2 years.
The family says Suzanne left her Colorado home for a bike ride, but never returned.
I just love my girls. And I love my wife. And I just want her to be found.
But investigators...
Oh, do you, buddy? Do you? Well, thank God she's been found. And you've been found out, my friend. Or my not my friend. My dude. Or dude. God, to hear him say, and I love my wife. Okay, so, oh, yeah, J13, I'm sure he knows how to schmooze them to his side. First of all, you know, when it's your parents, you're gonna want to believe the best. But if you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you know, which is what he's been described to be by more than one person, right? And even by Suzanne through the testimony of her friends and family. They will have your head spinning. You know what I mean? I can't stand it. I literally will run. I don't want anybody like that in my life. If you're trying to like use my brain as your Play-Doh and I'm exhausted and feel like I've done a damn workout from the mental gymnastics you've put me through just trying to figure out the truth of a situation. Nope. I've got no time in my life for people like that because I have dealt with it way too close for comfort. And I just, I can't imagine. That's probably how they are. Their heads are probably spinning. God only knows what he said to them, what he's told them, the things that we don't know yet. I don't know. I can't blame them. Okay. I have the world's biggest narc as a mom. Oh my God, it's exhausting. Oh, I'm sorry, J13. I'm sure that is exhausting. He has definitely not aged like fine wine. He looks awful there. He looks terrible in the new mugshot. Now, when he was in court the other day, he looked better than I would have expected, I suppose. He's got this fresh haircut.
Your Honor, the evidence itself has not changed, although the theory of the government has, and that has been ever based on a $500,000 bond. And throughout the litigation of Mr. Morphew's case, Miss Morphew's unfortunate death, Mr. Morphew did exactly what bond is supposed to do, which is that Mr. Morphew appeared for every single court appearance. He followed every single requirement of the court and at no time had any problems complying with the order.
Okay, buddy. Kelly knows, so they believe he's innocent. At least they did. You know, I guess, I don't know, now that she's been found and her autopsies came out, but then again, they said he was, well, actually, let me rewind to the beginning of this. Watch this. You'll see him show up for court, if I'm not mistaken, and smile real big at one of his daughters. So I think it's just going to take time. They're going to have to see the facts and put them together. And even then, they may not believe it at first, right? Because that's what like emotional abuse does to us.
We're following a major update in the case against the Colorado dad accused of killing his wife on Mother's Day.
We're going to get into the next case,
Barry
which
Morphew
brace yourself.
Sat in court Tuesday in Colorado as a judge determined to change his bond. This is the second time that Morphew has been accused of killing Suzanne Morphew, but this time, prosecutors have what they say is a huge piece of evidence, the missing woman's body. And her sibling has some harsh words for his former brother-in-law. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime.
Sorry, I just want you guys to see this one clip. It's like 2 minutes, 2 seconds rather.
Barry Morphew has been in custody since his arrest on June 20th of this year in a case that goes back more than 5 years to Mother's Day 2020. It is possible that Morphew could get out of jail ahead of his trial because of what happened in court this week in Colorado. This is video of Morphew entering the court Tuesday for a bond hearing. His attorneys say he's innocent and they wanted his $3 million cash bond lowered to $500,000. His defense attorneys pointed out that he has 2 daughters, one that was in high school when their mom went missing, one that was in college, and both of them are standing by their dad. Now, I'll break down what the judge decided to do in just a moment, and I'll also tell you the bombshell words that Suzanne Morphew's brother has for the defendant Barry in this case. But let me bring you back to when this story started in 2020 and the people who make up.
Okay, maybe not. He comes in though and he flashes a huge smile, looks directly at one of the girls. I think they were both there, but maybe just one at that time because the way it was worded. I'm going to share this link with you guys though so you can watch it in full so we can get on to this next case I want to talk about. They are beautiful. Coffee. Okay. So this is in my state, but it's not too close to me. Still wanted to talk about it because it felt local, right? But even though I live out in the middle of damn nowhere and, nowhere near this, but so CATS releases surveillance video of deadly light rail stabbing. So it's a 23-year-old woman, Irina Zarutska. On August 22nd, this happened around 10 p.m., but this footage, I guess, just came out. I just saw it within the last 2 or 3 days. DeCarlos Brown is facing first-degree murder in connection with the killing. Remember that, because when we see the video, it stops before anything happens, but it appears that he's having some sort of mental health episode. Or something, like he's upset, maybe not episode, but I don't know. We'll see and look at it and talk about it together in a moment. So Zarutska's death has ignited conversation over safety on Charlotte's transit system and questions about the mental health system, the suspect's state of mind, and if there were any warning signs. Investigators say she was riding the blue line when Brown, who didn't know her, stabbed her in the throat 3 times with a pocket knife. The two had no interaction before the stabbing. Now, this girl gets on the train, and you can see she's in her work clothes. Okay, she must have just gotten off work, and she's listening to earbuds. So she's not paying attention at all. Yes, it is Rando. I think she's Ukrainian. She's not paying attention at all. She's it makes you think, don't be out in public with earbuds in both ears. Make sure you're staying alert in situations like this. These are talking about riders on there. Brown did not have a ticket to ride the train. There was also no security present in the exact car where the attack happened. In the newly released video, you see Brown sitting inside the train. He appears restless at times, shifting in his seat, but he did not do anything that appeared to alarm passengers or draw attention to himself. At some point, Zarutska enters the train car and she sits in front of Brown. She was wearing earbuds and looking at her phone in her seat. 4 minutes later, Brown pulled out what appeared to be a pocket knife and stabbed Zarutska multiple times in the neck. She collapsed as stunned passengers tried to react. Brown walked to the front of the train car, removed his sweater, and wrapped, which makes me think, was that to... If it was to not be identified, why did you do that while you're still on camera? I'm not sure. He removes his sweater and wraps his hand before exiting the train, where police arrested him on the platform. Loved ones say Zarutska, who recently fled Ukraine, to escape the dangers of war, came to Charlotte seeking peace and new beginnings, but her story ended in tragedy. That is so freaking sad. I hate all this war. I really do. I hate when... I don't know why I did that. When, citizens are affected by it even more. Don't even get me started in what's happening in the Middle East. I have a lot of thoughts on that, and I've spent a lot of time researching this, but how sad to think that this young lady was trying to escape a country where, I mean, they've been there, it's been war for years, right, with Russia and Ukraine, and you come over here to the United States where you think you're safe. You think you're going to have a better life. You think you're going to come here and flee from the danger you're facing at home. This is freaking sad. All right, so I'm going to warn you guys again, it doesn't show the actual incident, but it shows like right up to that moment. You see him raise his arm up and everything. Okay. So here he is, here. And if you look at him, watch him. Shaking his head back and forth. He just seems like he's like distressed or something. What do you guys think? Keep it, like, let me know. We're gonna watch it a time or two, probably twice. So I'll play this again, but I want to play it in full without stopping. Our world does get scarier and scarier. He's not doing well, Coffee says. Okay. So here she comes. Oh my God. In her hat, her khakis, her little work shirt. It's sad. Earbuds in, on the phone. Be aware of your surroundings, you guys, no matter where you are. If you have young kids, teach them, right? Please be aware. Know where the exits are, wherever you are. Takes only 4 minutes. The time she sits down.
Please stand clear. Doors are closing. Train is about to move.
You know how young kids are living in the clouds anyways. You've got to make sure to tell them, now there's this little pocket knife. Look how small that is. And then my God. Where is the other video I've got? Because I had another one to show, like the same thing, but it maybe it's in the bottom of this. It shows him after and what he does as well. I think it is on this one.
To say I'm fired up about this one, guys, that would be the understatement of the century. Kurt Warner is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2017. Going into season 4 as captain of your Sens. Sorry. Brady Kachuk, welcome to Locked On.
My God, is that not terrifying?
Of all times. We have Sean Lights Out Merriman on the show.
NBA champion.
Okay. No, passengers did not intervene. I don't think they knew what happened until after. And you're going to see Kelly. That's why I wanted this video, because they don't show the attack, but they show after. He gets up and he's kind of pacing around like towards the door, and there's blood droplets all down the aisles. And I'm guessing that must have, like, maybe the passengers started to notice then. And he ends up taking off his hoodie and when the doors open, he leaves and he's arrested. It's said on the platform. So I'm assuming like pretty much immediately.
Please stand clear. Doors are closing. Train is
Poor girl, man. And her family. Now, you know, I get why the video's being released. For transparency in the investigation, for safety on trains, for transparency just to the public in general about this situation. I can see many different reasons why, but part of me is like, damn, man, you know her family's seen this. And here's the thing about things like this, about photos like in the Idaho 4 house. I did an interview years ago, several lives. It was like 3 lives where I was talking with Bianca Devin's mom. She was a young girl who was murdered in the state of New York I think in like 08, 07, 08 or years ago. And maybe it was in 2000. I don't know the year. Now I'm all over, but it was a while ago. And the guy who did it took pictures of her when not only did he have a camera in the car that was filming her she didn't know about during some intimate moments they had, but then he took pictures of her after he killed her. Then he went out, put her on a tarp, laid on top of her, had a boombox, tried to take his own life, did not succeed, called the cops, and he's serving time. But the photos that he took of her and he uploaded onto the internet, Google has taken them down multiple times. Her family still will get onto the internet randomly and have to see these photos. They have seen them. They have seen them when searching for other things, like with other family members. It's horrific. TikTok, you don't know what you're going to see. You're literally on there just scrolling, right? And whatever you see in your news feed, you see. If you think about this young lady's family and just like coming across it, that is very sad. I'm sure, at this point they have seen it and they can, if you do, like say you're on TikTok and you see the beginning of it starting, you can go on and choose to watch something else. But just something to think about that is really heartbreaking. There he goes for his knife. Just wanted to make sure I didn't, and I'm sure it wouldn't go any further, but that right there is what nightmares are fucking made of, man. Just out of nowhere. It is, Jamie. We never know what day is truly our last day or moment on earth. Good, Rando. I just signed my daughter up for self-defense training. I wouldn't like that either, MK. Unprovoked, absolutely terrifying. Yeah, I know, Kelly. Okay, let's see. I think this is the video I watched that showed afterwards. If not, I have one more link that I had. Yes. Oh, wait. No. Oh, it's just from this angle. Okay. Oh my God. I just wonder if even for a half a millisecond, if she glanced and saw the reflection or anything. Okay, so let me just go and grab the other clip because I want to show you guys after. Before I do a live, I go through and I'm watching stuff about whatever we're talking about in so many different places, and I'm saving all of them in case, there's a little bit more on this one or a little more on that or whatever. Okay. Now this comes from a Twitter post, this version of it. I have to resend it to myself. I don't have it right here. I'm going to try again to go this week to be on around this time, Monday through Thursday. That is my goal. Okay, there it is. So just so you guys know, be looking for me because I have been so random and not consistent at all. I used to be very consistent. I was on all the time at the same time, around the same times, and things have just changed. It's been a long time. So a long time ago that things were like that, and I want to get back to it.
It's 9.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
46 p.m. You'll notice right away, this looks like any other ride aboard the light rail. People are doing what they do these days, keeping to themselves, scrolling on their phones as they ride along. The man accused in the killing, DeCarlos Brown, is in the red hoodies on the right side of your screen. He appears to be maybe a little emotional, perhaps a little agitated, but nothing disruptive. There's nothing that gets anyone's attention.
Look at his
About
mugshots
30
there.
seconds later, Irina Zarutska boards. She's wearing a hat and a t-shirt from a pizzeria, and she sits in the row in front of Brown. She has earbuds in and is looking at her phone. She too is just minding her own
Hey,
business.
Diana.
They ride along for around 4
Be
minutes with
rando.
nothing unusual happening. Then around 9:50 p.m., Brown reaches into a pocket. We've zoomed in on it here. He pulls out
Look how
a
small
pocket
that
knife.
is.
No one notices a thing. Seconds later, he would stand up, and from behind, unprovoked, as we stop the video, he would stab the young woman several times. She had no chance to defend herself. The attack was over in seconds, and when it was over, Brown walked through the train attempting to get off. Few passengers, if any, at first realized what had
See the
happened
blood?
until they noticed drops of blood on the floor. 90 seconds after the attack, a bystander rushes down to begin lending aid to Zarutska. She would die from her injuries. 30 seconds later, 9:52 p.m., 6 minutes into the video, Brown leaves the light rail.
The video here shows us just how quickly things happened and how difficult it would have been to prevent once he got
till they noticed drops.
Let me go back to here. Watch. I wish I could zoom, but I can't.
The attack
Watch
was over in seconds.
here.
And when it
You'll
was
see
over,
the blood on
Brown
the
walked
floor.
through
As he walks up to the door, you see like here around his feet. That's what made people realize something had happened. And then they tried to help her. Look how beautiful she is too. My God. And then here he's been arrested multiple times.
the train attempting to get off. Few passengers, if any, at first
Think he cut his
realized
hand.
what had happened until they noticed drops of blood.
Is that his blood? And that's why he wrapped his hand, because it like slipped on the knife, like because they say that happens a lot. Oh my gosh, you're right,
On the
MK.
floor. 90 seconds after the attack, a bystander rushes down to begin lending
think you're
aid
right.
to Zarutska. She would die from her injuries. 30 seconds later, 9:52 p.m., 6 minutes into the video, Brown leaves the light rail.
the video here shows.
And just how traumatizing for all the other passengers too. Dude. I don't know where my thing went. His hand is bleeding badly. Yeah, sick son of a bitch. Did she scream? I don't know, Kelly. I don't think she had time, honestly. I don't think she knew. If they didn't notice, so what we just heard, according to that, they didn't notice until they saw the blood droplets on the floor, and he's kind of like pacing from the door back to he's waiting for it to stop. She must not have. But I don't know. It's something I want to follow. I think it's his, Neat says. I think so too. It's possible, Rando. To me, he looks like he's troubled, though, at the beginning. I don't think that matters. I think anybody who commits a murder is mentally ill. Come on now. If you think that that's what you need to do, if that's your next step in whatever in your life is to take the life of another person, then I believe that you got some mental issues, no matter what, no matter how it happens, no matter what. But I still think you need to be in prison or kept away from society. You are obviously dangerous, but I'm curious if he has like some sort of schizophrenia, hearing voices. I don't know. Right. Coffee. Okay. Now, before we go, I got to tell y'all about something. We're not going to watch it today, but I was just watching a body cam and it's a video on law and crime. Matter of fact, I have the link right here. Let me pull it up so I can share it with you. This is an Amish woman who, I think it was August the 22nd. She took the life of her 4-year-old baby. She threw him off a dock to give him to God. Her husband, I believe, helped in it the way I understand it. But at one point he was swimming and I don't know. Here, I'm going to share the link so you can see, but they said there was no sign that he was like trying to save his child with what he was doing, but he had an accident out in the water. She then gets her 3 older kids, 2 18-year-old twins and 15-year-old kid, and gets them on the golf cart. They're at like this lake, this like camping place next to a lake, and she tries to drive her kids into the lake, and the police come and she tells them, you know, I gave my son to God, and my husband is at the bottom of the lake. He's inside of a fish. He's in a huge fish. I'm telling you, please find the best searchers you can find and find my husband. He's in a fish at the bottom of the lake. It's unbelievable. It's so have you guys heard of that? It is so creepy though to hear her the way that she's saying that she gave him to God, and it's so emotionless. Just here. Okay. We're not going to watch it. I'm just going to show you a clip, and then I will share the link, and maybe we'll talk about it in the future. So it happened on the 22nd. She was arrested on the 23rd, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and it was the 23rd. Oh, wait.
When they first arrived.
I gave him to God.
You gave him to God?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I threw him in the lake and I gave him to God. And people are going to tell me I am crazy, but he is real. And he loves you. He really does love you. He loves you. And I doubted him. I doubted him so many times. But I am to tell you, he is coming soon. He is coming very soon. Prepare your hearts. The end is close. And I'm for sure supposed to tell you that he does love you. Okay?
Ma'am, can you explain to me what happened? Who did you throw in the water?
I gave my son to God.
Your son?
Yes.
Where's your husband?
He went for a walk this morning.
And you haven't seen him
He
since?
didn't ever come back. And we went to the boat and his clothes were there. And God told me he's in the lake and a fish swallowed him. And you're actually supposed to go look for him in the bottom of the lake. And you will find the fish. And you will find my husband. And then you will believe. But ye of your little faith that did not believe before seeing.
Okay.
And
so send people down to the bottom of the lake looking for a fish. That has my husband.
How old's your son that's in the lake?
4. He's sweet and I love him. Whew, yeah. And again, she does go on to say, like, get your best people and find him, because they're like, there's not a fish that's big enough for your husband. She's like, no, that's where he is. It's horrific. I just shared the link in the chat. When your religion prevents mental health care, right, Rando? It's very clearly something going on. The tone of her voice is just so, I don't know. Just wanted to share with you guys. I was watching that a little bit ago, and yeah, very sad. Just made me think, talking about that man on the train and mental health issues. So, all right. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for joining me this evening to go through this update with Barry Morphew, this new case out of Charlotte, and also to talk briefly about this. I hope to see you guys here tomorrow. And yeah, that's all I've got. I'm a little off. Whenever, I'm not coming on that often, being here is weird. And it takes a second to get, used to it and get to where it, feels natural to talk. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you tomorrow. And yeah, if you have a case that you see that you want to talk about, let me know. There are a couple things that I have in mind that I want to talk about this week, but there's new stuff happening all the time. It's pretty shocking and pretty scary when you do realize just how often this shit happens. And there are moments that I think I don't even know if I want to talk about true crime anymore. It gets so heavy on here sometimes, and then I'm always snapped back when I realize how often these things happen and how little they're talked about. You'll find certain cases that get a lot of coverage or have a lot of conversation surrounding them, and then there are so many others that really never get talked about at all. So anyways, thank you guys. And why are we leaving? Thank you guys for being here. I will see you tomorrow. Harley, because that's the only things I brought to talk about. I have to get back into it slowly. And then by the end of the week, maybe we'll be here for a couple hours. Hopefully me and Melissa will be on to talk Casey Anthony soon. I think we'll maybe try to do that sometime this week. I need to talk to her. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. I hope you have a lovely night. I appreciate you guys. Oh, thank you, Rando. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.